Welcome to TYT Sports, everybody. This is the NFL Playoff Recap brought to you by the Vizio P-Series 4K Ultra HD Smart TVs. Jason Rubin, J.R. Jackson, our good friend Taylor Jones coming in from Columbus, Ohio to join us in talking about the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens, a 35-31 show, the only way to put it. It was one of the better playoff games we've seen in a long time. It was a shootout, not too much defense, but where to even begin? I think quarterbacks is a great place to start. Let's go back to the beginning of the game when Joe Flacco was doing playoff Joe Flacco things. 17 touchdowns, 1 interception since 2012, I believe, in his playoff run. JR, let's hear some thoughts.
Well, I mean, we hear so much about, before the game even started, we heard so much about the quarterback matchup, which always annoys me a little bit because quarterbacks don't play against each other. First of all, the matchup is quarterback versus the defense. So if they're wondering if Flacco versus Brady is going to happen, that's never going to happen, unless Brady decides to play linebacker. So in that case, Flacco came out looking like the playoff quarterback we're used to seeing that takes apart defenses because it's basically unsuspecting. I think what he ran into today was the fact that he finally got catapulted into the spotlight, and he has to continue to do this. And Brady, in thinking now it's me versus him, did a Brady and just played an excellent full game. I mean, if there was another 2 minutes left on the clock, we might have seen something else happen.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, one of the things that I took away from Joe Flacco was, and I was a Joe Flacco hater for a long time, and that one game has changed my entire perspective on him. I don't think he's still worth his $120 million, but he's certainly worth a good deal of money because his playoff performance was spectacular. She could not get the game-winning drive down, but he did convert that fourth down.
Yeah.
Taylor, we're curious your thoughts over coming in from Columbus, Ohio, Taylor Jones. He was with us last week. We're excited to bring him on again. Taylor, what do you think of the Joe Flacco and Tom Brady performance?
I mean, we're talking about a Joe Flacco who has gone into Gillette Stadium 3 times before and has won 2 out of those 3 games. And on the third game that he lost, let's not forget, he drove them down, I think it was to the Patriot 14-yard line before they shanked the field goal that would have sent them into overtime. Yeah. So there's no doubt about it that Flacco's gotten the better of, call it, the Patriots defense or Tom Brady himself in these series. And had you told me that the Ravens would get a 14-0 spot, basically, to start this game, it'd be hard to bet against them based on their playoff record and their history in Gillette Stadium. So I thought they had it pretty handily in the first half, but you got to give it to the Patriots. They kept fighting back. It's not just about a fast start. You got to play all 60 minutes.
It's true. Tom Brady passed a hell of a milestone. He became the postseason's most touchdown passes, 46, passing Joe Montana. Ironically, Brady grew up a 49ers fan. Yeah. So as I believe the commentators were saying during the game, it's got to mean something to him. Brady's playing with so much damn intensity. Throughout that entire game, the rushing touchdown, we've seen him do the QB sneak touchdowns, but man, he took apart he just ran right up the gut.
It's one of those things where he looked and saw what they gave him, and he took it. Now, there was one particular play, one of the touchdown passes to Gronkowski, where it was like he stands up and looks at the defense. And it was everything but a point at Rob Gronkowski. It was run that slant because there's a 5'7" corner on you right now. And in thinking that, if you're just going to look at it, I remember I was sitting on the couch saying, you might want to jump that route. You might want to jump that route because we know what it's going to be. I mean, what else should it be? So it was a lot of obvious plays, but again, it was magical in the way he did it. If you just look at what he's going to do, he does it just effortlessly.
There's something to say about this Patriots team, especially this season. Taylor, I'm curious your thoughts about one specific play, and that is Julian Edelman playing quarterback to Danny Amendola. When me and JR were discussing this game earlier, we found that the Patriots threw to the left side of the field, I believe, 80% of the game. And it worked, and they were throwing those short routes to the flat, and they were getting yards after the catch, and then that play came. Could you take us through that play and what you thought? How did that work, and why did it work?
Well, listen, that came right after the other trick play that got them within 7 points, where they ran a wide receiver eligible play, a wide receiver ineligible play, which I've never seen in my lifetime. Number 47 went right up the seam, who was lined up as the 5th offensive lineman, and then they come out with this next trick play on the very next series. The Ravens defense had to respect that quick screen to the receiver. Edelman pops up and finds Amendola deep. And at the end of the day, like, hey, sometimes you hit on some trick plays and sometimes you don't. As a defense, you're put in a bad spot sometimes. And when they throw that ball to Edelman, they haven't seen that on tape as a defense. Right. You have to respect the screen. You got to go up there and make a tackle. Edelman pulls up and hits a big play. Credit to them.
And this is what happens whenever you do something successfully that they've been doing that whole game. The defense has to eventually keep changing and trying to adjust to what they're doing. And then, as with all great defenses, I think which you were alluding to, Taylor, was with a great defense, you have to surprise them, because the reason they're great is because they know what you're going to do because they've studied. There was a pregame piece with Terrell Suggs, and he said, games aren't won on the day of the game. Games are won beforehand because we study, because we look into what we're doing, because we prepare ourselves.
The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, he's prepared what he was going to do, and if you change up something he's not going to see, especially in a game that's only won by 4 points, it's huge.
And Edelman, this is a guy that played quarterback in college.
Yes.
Right up the road from here. And he had 30 touchdown passes in college. So he's capable of throwing the ball. We've just never seen it at this level. They've never run that play. I think in his post-game interview, he said that that's been in for about the past 10 weeks. Yeah. And he was pushing them to call it. And, they hit it at the right time. So much about play calling is execution and timing on the field. And they hit it. So, like I said, credit to them.
I was going to say hats off to Julian Edelman. He's now 1 for 1, 51 yards and a touchdown pass in his NFL QB career. And they kept mentioning during the game, like, why haven't we seen Edelman throw more balls? Well, maybe because Tom Brady's your quarterback.
That's right.
That seems to be the reason. They don't got no scrub starting for the New England Patriots. So, again, this game in Foxborough, it was chilly. Actually, I have a very good friend of mine who was at that game, a season ticket holder for the Patriots for a long time. And immediately after the game, he sends over to me, it's the best game I've ever been to. And again, that's a historied Patriots franchise of playoff games. They're going to the AFC Championship game. I don't know how many people remember this, considering its recent history. This is the 4th straight AFC Championship game for the New England Patriots. As it almost seems like there hasn't been an AFC Championship game in the last 10 years, and of course there has been, without Tom Brady under the helm in Foxborough. Right. It's routine, and it's really coming. So one of the things I did want to mention during this clip, and I know it's my generation of people like to put everything into rankings, but I truly believe if Brady wins 2 more games, he is the greatest quarterback of all time. And I think this is a game where he looked so much like his 2001, 2, and 4 self that we haven't seen in so long. There's something different about this Patriots team. I think that drive that capped off a Brandon LaFell touchdown, again, with receivers that are, I don't want to say no-name guys, because when you got Brady throwing you the ball, Edelman and LaFell become big-name guys.
And actually, what ends up happening with this, earlier in his career when he won his other Super Bowls and when he looked amazing, he had better defenses.
Yes.
They gave up 31 points today. And we talked about how good Joe Flacco is and everything, and we talked about how they ran all over them. But, you have to be honest. Now, as he's aging, Tom Brady has to put more of the weight on his own shoulders to do these types of things. So this would be a signature on his career that's, I carry these teams that now have lesser players or lesser defensive players to help me out in these situations. He didn't have to put up 35 points in the past to beat a Baltimore Ravens in the last few minutes of the game.
All right, to wrap up, Taylor, any last words on your end about the Patriots going forward for the AFC Championship game?
Well, hey, listen, I think Tom Brady obviously is one of the greatest to ever play the game. I don't know if he'll be the greatest, but I'll tell you what, Rob Gronkowski is the MVP of this team right now.
Definitely.
Even above and beyond Tom Brady. The way he influences coverages, the way he sparks the energy of the offense. I mentioned that trick play where they had the wide receiver report as ineligible. You should have seen the defense completely shift over to Gronkowski's side, leaving number 47 basically uncovered. Brady might be playing well, but Gronkowski's the reason.
He makes it easier for him.
That's true. My alter ego is a 6'6" train who can catch balls and run downfield with a full head of steam. Hey, guys, thank you for watching the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens recap, brought to you by Vizio and the P-Series 4K Ultra HD Smart TVs. Jason Rubin, J.R. Jackson, Taylor Jones coming in from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, Taylor. We'll see you soon for the Seahawks and the Panthers. That game is underway, and it's been exciting as all hell. So we look forward to it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check the description box below if you're interested in getting one of these awesome TVs. They really are great. And we'll see you next time. Bye.